Okay, guys, thank you everyone so much for joining. I'm really happy to have you in our first part of our webinar series called Behind the Curtain. In this webinar series, we're going to tell you how Influ2 uses Influ2 internally. So I'll tell you how marketing is using it. And I also have my colleagues here, Anastasia, our senior account executive, and John Schroepfer, our sales development leader, and they'll be helping me with this task today. I'm really happy to have you guys to support me. And in this specific webinar, we're gonna tell you how to turn Influ2 ad engagement into revenue. So in particular, Anastasia and John will walk you through our top of funnel playbook that our SDRs are using and how they're working with Influ2 engagements, and how we're supporting open opportunities for our account executives. And again, here are your hosts and your speakers. And to start on the right note, I just wanted to acknowledge that as someone who's been reporting on outbound results for the past 3 years, outbound is definitely becoming more difficult. We already went through a recession that kind of never happened, but really affected the mood of the market. And we're now going through uncertain times that are also affecting the situation. The sales cycles are getting longer. And as you can see, most of the companies are trying to address this issue by increasing their volume. But when everyone's increasing their volume and conversions are going down, SDRs are now facing a much harder task of being relevant, being purposeful, and being human. And actually, we created this webinar to tell you how Influ2, if your marketing is using Influ2, how it can help you be all of those things. And the first thing that you need to do is bust the sales and marketing silos. Marketing and sales alignment is a very, it's a trending topic, but it's actually very complex and difficult. So I'm not going to tell you how you should do it, but I'm going to tell you how we did it. So for us to be aligned means that we know who to target, when to target, and what actually qualifies as a strong intent signals for our sales. And the way we do it sounds easy and logical, but I know that it's very hard to achieve for many companies, is we work from the same list of accounts and from the same list of contacts in those accounts. So thanks to our system that we set up in Salesforce and integrating Influ2 into it, we know sales know who we are targeting and we know who sales are targeting and when we're doing that. So we are completely aligned, we're in sync with that. And to make a strong signal for our salesperson, it means that, hey, they already have a list of like 50 people that they have to reach out today. And when one of the person or a couple of people from that list are already engaging with our creatives right now, it's a no-brainer for them to start reaching out to that person and prioritize them and, use the context that they have from the ad campaigns to personalize and make their outreach more relevant. And here is a very simple explanation of what content, like what stands behind the contact level intent. So you can see here, marketing launches a relevant ad. There could be any ad, like this is just an example. Someone clicks on it, your prospect clicks on it, you get an engagement notification, and you can get it in email, you can get it in Slack, you can get it in Salesforce or whatever CRM you're using. So those notifications will follow your infrastructure. And you already have the name, you already have the company, you know their LinkedIn link, the creative that they're engaging, the landing page that they're visiting. And you can use all of that information to create manual outreach that refers to the messaging in that creative. And on average for us, that really doubles the conversion when we compare it to just cold outreach. And it's not working just for, it's working not just for us. It's also working for 130 leading GTM teams that are using Influ2 right now, and using Influ2 contact level ads to boost pipeline by 82% on average. And that pretty much almost concludes my part of the webinar, and I'm very happy to welcome John. John will walk you through how Influ2 is being used by our SDR departments. And to give John a better introduction, our joint program last year fueled 123% growth in outbound generated revenue. And John is here to share with you how that actually happened.
Awesome. Thank you, Anna. John Schroepfer, Director of Sales Development at Influ2. I'm going to walk you guys through how my team is using Influ2 internally to pinpoint exactly who's engaging with our ads and how that invisibility is reshaping the way we're prioritizing our outreach and driving pipeline for our sales team. So let's jump in. There's a common challenge that a lot of outbound teams face today. Account level intent tells you an account is showing activity, but it doesn't necessarily tell you who inside the account is actually engaging. Account level intent forces outbound teams like ours to guess who to prioritize for sequencing, and more often than not, it can waste a lot of time and energy. These issues can also be compounded when you're looking at approaching enterprise or mid-market level accounts where there could be many, many people in the persona that you're targeting. We understand this, and within Influ2, it's different. So through contact level ads, we are able to connect engagement signals directly to name buyers. We get a ton of stuff. We get like their full name, their title, company, and exactly what ad or content they're interacting with. So whether it's a click, a page view, sustained impressions, we get full visibility into exactly who's leaning in, how often, and how they're engaging with us. And this type of intent arms our team with a lot to personalize and make our outreach better. Instead of just chasing large persona pools or cold accounts, our team is now building our day around connecting with decision makers who already recognize our brand. They understand the value that we offer, and the context that our ads provide make our outreach 2 times more effective than if we weren't using them as part of our outreach. So twice as effective with contact level ads. And I'll give you an example. Picture this. A CRO at one of your target accounts is spending 2 minutes on your product landing page after clicking on an ad. We don't consider this a lead. This is a conversation that you can start with confidence through context and intent. So let's talk a little bit more about how SDRs are using Influ2 internally here every day to drive stronger pipeline. It starts off with real-time signal capture. When a prospect engages meaningfully, what we call clicking on an ad or crossing 15 plus impressions and seeing our ads. An alert fires in Slack and in the Influ2 platform. And this just isn't a ping. This is a target report that gives our SDRs full context. They get the contact's name, their title, company, priority level. Again, what campaign they're engaging with, and even the landing page behind the ad. Before our SDRs are beginning their outreach, they already know what's resonating with the named buyer. And as we can all appreciate and understand, we're knowing where to spend time and outbound is really important. And we need to be extra efficient with that time in order to hit quota. So these signals are really giving us a lot of affirmation where we need to spend our time and where we are going to build success. Once we have those signals, we are enrolling them into what we call an EBS sequence, an engagement-based sequence, EBS. And SDRs are adding contacts into this sequence. It's a multi-day sequence that's pretty short and pointed. And this sequence is tailored to the ad or the content that they engage with. It's packed with a ton of visuals, think personalized videos, LinkedIn touches, and crisp email copies that are aligned with the content they're engaging with. The sequence is designed to hit fast while the signal's still warm, so it only lasts a couple days. And in the event that we're unsuccessful in flipping the prospect in this shorter sequence, we will move them into a longer form sequence over a course of a couple weeks. And this larger sequence will piggyback off the content they're engaging with, but it will also layer in different components and value props based on their title and what they value. So the thing I want to highlight here is like personalization is key. These contact level ads not only are identifying people that we need to prioritize, but they're also giving us a lot of signals in terms of the messaging that we need to continue to cultivate. So I'll give you an example here. I can't get too specific, but we had a B2B SaaS company in the enterprise space, and we moved them into our EBS sequence after a number of impressions and clicks. And it was in our second day of outreach through email correspondence that he actually confirmed he saw some of our ads. It piqued his interest. and he was looking to learn more. So our timely outreach was that much effective in just bringing him in and setting those next steps. The thing that we want to really take out of this is timing is critical. Anna, we can go to the next tab. Timing is really critical, right? We want to strike while the iron's hot. So internally, our team has a SLA of following up within 24 hours, and that's what we recommend is a 24 to 48 hour follow-up. And following up in a timely manner is essential to driving that conversation. We get inundated with a lot of different advertisements and things in this day and age. And so we want to be sure to capitalize on the content that they've already viewed and use that as a good foundation to continue to build on the conversation. We understand this to the point where we actually got more creative and built an additional campaign called a pre-call campaign. Understanding that timing is critical here. We wanted to see how we could free up time for our SDR team while also maximizing the number of at-bats they could give themselves to be successful. So we thought of building a sequence that was primarily built around just calls. And what we did to support this is we launched an ad campaign that would go out about a week or two prior to our calls. And this was a way that we could warm up these accounts, these contacts. We could give them more context for who Influ2 is and how we could help them in their day-to-day. And when we caught these people on the phone, we were able to really build a conversation around their engagement. And the context that they had was that much more valuable for making the most of that conversation and setting next steps. So in summary, a couple of things that I want to highlight here is, outbound, to Anna's point, has become very congested. It can be hard to stand out. And we've really seen how these contact level ads have been a way that we can instigate interest and also understand where we want to spend time to be more successful. These contact level ads are helping us build awareness with name buyers. They're helping us be more efficient with time. And because we're aligned on ICP, we're seeing a substantial sales accepted conversion rate and building pipeline north of 85% this year. So this collaboration and partnership with marketing, it honestly feels necessary and natural. And that's how we're winning here at Influ2. Anna, I'll turn it back to you.
Yay. All right. So John, thank you so much for summarizing how our playbook. I mean, you've done a great job. So let's now imagine we have an opportunity. We converted that with our SDRs. I'm now moving on to my partnership with Anastasia, and Anastasia will walk you through how we use Influ2 to support our open opportunities, because that's also that we do at Influ2. And again, to give a great introduction to Anastasia, she doesn't just hit quota, she crushes it. Just look at her quota attainment in 2023, 2024. We're all very lucky to work with Anastasia and report on revenue together. So I'm looking forward to 2025. Anastasia, the floor is yours.
Thank you for this modest introduction, Anna. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Setting up for success.
Definitely. Well, first of all, guys, it's worth to mention that we're a small but mighty team. We're only 4 account executives with very large quotas that are increasing year over year, which means we have to be as efficient as possible with our time and efforts. And I guess these quota attainment numbers that you saw earlier are the result of that, us having no other choice but to be productive. And of course, Influ2 plays a huge role in it. Our very own tech helps me do more. It helps me expand my reach, and it helps me humanize my sales process. So when I talk about the humanization of the sales process, what I mean by that is obviously any opportunity that's in my pipeline, any evaluation that I'm having involves a buying group, right? A certain number of people in each account that are part of the decision-making process. And usually I'm in touch with a few of them, right? Some are my champions that I'm in active conversations with. But still, there are usually many other decision makers and influencers that are not joining the calls, or they're not very responsive to my emails, to my LinkedIn messages, but they can still influence the deal, right? And that's where marketing comes into play. It allows me to use advertising as a channel to create connections with Influ2 and with myself without that direct outreach. And the thing is, advertising channels are largely untouched territory, right? Prospects are not being reached on a personal level, on a contact level by every other vendor through ads. Most messaging out there through ads is generic, it's horizontal, it has no human connection. So when they see my face and our relevant ads, it creates that personal connection. And the beauty is that it's done at scale. So together, marketing and I are able to expand my reach and target many more prospects than I would through my efforts alone throughout the entire sales process. As a result, it helps me and Influ2 brand to stay top of mind. It helps us build targeted awareness and engagement, and that happens obviously with the right people with the right audience list, and it helps me multi-thread more effectively. And speaking of multi-threading and overall managing multiple deals at the same time, I need to be efficient, right? I mentioned with a small A team and a lot to manage. The hardest part here is deciding what to do with the limited time that I have on any given day, right? So if I have a free hour, what do I do with it? Should I follow up early stage conversations? Should I move current deals forward, close deals, reach out to potential expansion opportunities? All of that is important to my success and my quota. And there are so many deals that I could possibly do at any given point in time. So with engagement data that I get at a contact level from Influ2, I don't need to guess. I don't need to rely on my intuition or waste time on random outreach. My outreach is instead data-driven. I know where and when to multi-thread and which accounts are showing increased activity. I can see who exactly is the most engaged in each account, both in early stage pipeline or ops that are further down the funnel, where they have spoken with some of these people or not. And I know who I should prioritize today, basically. So if the engagement comes from the champion that I'm already in touch with, it's a good time to check in with them, kind of stay top of mind, keep that connection going. If it's a new contact who is relevant, but I haven't had a chance to talk to them yet, this contact level ad intent from Influ2 gives me that signal that right now is the best time to try to connect with them, to build meaningful connection, to ideally get them to be involved in the evaluation, right? To convert them to another champion that would help me push the deal further. And moreover, it's not only who to reach out to, it's also checking what ad they interacted with, and it gives me some context in terms of what to talk to them about, what to mention to them, so that I have better response rates from them. So now how we started that alignment, right? We started with sales and marketing coming together. We analyzed the sales process, and we still kind of do that consistently. We align on insights, we align on timing, we look at the weakest and most important steps during the sales cycle, and we figure out what messages we want to deliver to accounts at specific stages of the funnel in order to keep them engaged and keep pushing them further down the funnel all the way to close one, right? And obviously we use advertising, right, as a channel to distribute this relevant content across the whole buying committee. So what's also is amazing is that these ads, they not only build great awareness, but they kind of give prospects the illusion that they're doing the research on their own rather than us actively selling to them. And I also prepared several examples of the ads that we're running for the prospects once the opportunity is created. So we can jump to the next one. Yeah, and this one on the left is actually my favorite because, you know, there is no better way to start the call than a prospect saying, Anastasia, seems like I've known you forever. You're all over my feed. It's a nice breaker. It makes things kind of easier, right? And here on the right, for someone who's a no-show, we'll also have the creative solution for that as well, where we can target them with ads even if the call didn't take place, hopefully for them to then re-engage. Now, here is another example of what we showed to prospects after the demo. So for those who attended the call, we show personalized video where I thank them for the call and I share my excitement about the next steps. And you know, guys, you cannot imagine how many times people thank me for such a personalized video, thinking that I recorded it just for them. And I had to kind of disappoint them that actually it was recorded about a year ago. And you know, the only reason why it felt so personalized to them is because it was relevant and it was shown at the right time in front of the right audience. And again, for those who are not part of the demo, we have another ad to get them kind of to learn more about Influ2. Now here on this slide, we have some examples of product feature ads. This is another helpful kind of set of ads where we show the value and capabilities of our tag to obviously the whole buying group. And no matter how great and excellent our product is, it's still a rather new concept for the market. So these apps help educate, nurture the prospects, share what and how is possible with Influ2. So instead of kind of me pushing the guides through my champions and asking them to distribute them internally to educate everyone else who is not part of the conversation, we're able to do that through ads in a very controllable and non-intrusive way as well. So yeah, overall kind of ads is kind of a new way to deliver important content, not just for product features, but ultimately for anything. And yeah, during the last final stages of the sales cycle, when the value of the technology has been proven and the customer wants to have a proof that we are a reliable vendor, that's when this type of thought leadership content, social proof becomes the most valuable. So we usually show it a bit further down the sales cycle. So yeah, to sum it up, Influ2 helps me work more efficiently. Advertising used to be a black box on the marketing side, and sales couldn't get direct value. Even if there was some engagement at some point, it wasn't clear who it was coming from. So it was basically impossible for sales reps to act upon it. And yeah, now it is possible. And at the end of the day, deals happen between people. People buy from people, and this contact-based advertising supports that human connection. It drives real impact. So that's one of the reasons I'm able, and we are as a team able to accomplish so much with such a small team. And something I want to wrap up with today is if you're on the marketing side, and after listening to what John and I shared, at some point you had a thought that SDRs and sales reps, they don't want us touching their accounts. Or if you're on the other side, if you're part of the sales team, and at some point you thought, I'd rather marketing not get involved here, I think that that's worth pausing on. Because speaking from my experience, and I would probably talk on behalf of all reps that see success, what really drives us all, sales reps, is closed deals. Revenue for the company, achieving quota, revenue for ourselves, the money that we earn, right? So when marketing brings a way to help accelerate that, it's not about stepping on toes, it's about working smarter together and getting more closed business together. And if there is resistance to that kind of collaboration, it's usually a sign that something deeper needs alignment, whether that's strategic goals and approaches at a management level, whether it's the trust or communications or expectations. From what we've seen, when sales and marketing kind of align on the level of agreeing on which contacts to go after together from the target accounts, and then prioritizing those contacts that are showing intent, the impact can be huge, like 2 to 4x pipeline kind of huge. So yeah, I'll leave you with this. If working together feels hard, then I would recommend to take a step back and ask why. Because when both teams, sales and marketing, are focused on the same goal, which is generating more revenue, the rest should fall into place. And with that, I'll hand it back to Anna.
You leave them with me.
I
Now,
did.
okay, guys, thank you so much for making this happen. We're gonna finish off with a very quick step-by-step guide with the takeaways that we have from this webinar. So number one, build your audience together. Make sure you're going after the same people at the same time. Make sure there's full funnel air cover because the deal doesn't stop at the handoff. It should continue, and marketing should continue working with that audience to support their sales. Marketing should make sure that sales are getting their real-time intent signals where they work, and it's actually not that hard to implement with Influ2 especially. Make sure you have leadership buy-in and visibility. Always, refer to our revenue reporting, look at the deals that you generated, and report on your success together. And yeah, you'll be successful. One last thing, thank you so much for joining. Just wanted to promote something as well. We recently created a report on how to fix sales and marketing misalignment to drive more revenue. So if you're interested in learning more in different approaches and playbooks that we share in there, please, it's available on our website, or you can download the report from the QR code here.